Hi, I'm Julie Hall. I'm the founder of Women Unlimited, and this is Women Unlimited TV. It's a new initiative that we've started just this week, and we're looking to create new videos every week, which hopefully we'll be able to share with you stories and journeys from people that I think are interesting and inspiring in their own business. Now, this first interview we've got today is with a good friend of mine, Leanne Dal Santo from Smart Bags, and they create fabulous branded bags for small businesses and big businesses alike. I hope you like the interview, and please make sure you come and check in with us every Tuesday. Take care. So welcome to our very first edition of Women Unlimited TV. Today with me I've got my very good friend Leanne Dal Santo. Leanne has been coming to Women Unlimited events for, gosh, how long now, Leanne?
About 3 years.
About 3 years, fantastic. That's what we like to hear. And has a brilliant business called Smart Bags. And Smart Bags create, well, in fact, I'll let you describe what you do. How would you describe your product, Leanne?
I always say we bag your brand, meaning we basically provide and supply promotional, reusable, branded bags, and that's quite a big mouthful. But basically, we send out produce bags with people's brands on them.
Yeah, perfect. And in fact, actually, I can show you guys one of Leanne's most amazing bags here. This is a bag that she did for us for the Women Unlimited conference 2 years ago, and we still get people asking us for the bags. They love them. They've been absolutely amazing, and yes, we should talk about next year's conference as well. So, Leanne, do you want to show us a couple of other examples of your products?
Okay, so here is just one of our own branded ones, just to show our crazy lady.
I love this bag. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, that's why she gets around. We just
she gets around.
But then this is one just to show, seeing it's like very 2012.
Oh yeah, gorgeous.
And there's millions more there.
Well, the thing I really like about your bags is, one, they're really high quality, but the print quality on them is fantastic. And I particularly like the ones that kind of have that slightly plasticky feel, because they're quite unusual, aren't they?
Yeah, I think that's what we're looking at, in the sense that we specialize in that, because I think brands are vibrant, and although I love cotton and jute, we tend to spend a lot of our energy focusing on the non-woven and woven bags, because we're seeing them in the supermarkets. But I like to think you don't need to be a huge, big hypermarket to make the most of these bags and get your brand out there on something that's quite dynamic and practical.
Yeah, well, you've had some great successes, haven't you? You've worked with Mamas and Papas,
Yeah.
some of the councils. Which councils are some of the ones that you've worked with?
Oh, Enfield, some of the London ones, Enfield, Haringey, Wales. We've worked in Wrexham. We've worked with other councils around the country, Manchester, Doncaster, lots and lots actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, getting out there, that's what we like to see. So when you started your business, did you start it actually after the big sort of commercial crash back in 2008, or when was it that you actually started Smart Bags?
I started it in 2007 while I was on maternity leave, so I was actually still working. And I had one of those moments when I was on maternity leave with my second child, thinking I really want to start my business, but I didn't know what to do. And I was back in Australia visiting my family, and I was sitting on the beach thinking, what can I do? And I was spotting all these bags everywhere, reusable bags, and I thought, that's it. And I went from there, really. And I was still working for a while I started it, because I think actually, in a way, it's a big decision just to cut and leave, and you've got to test the market, see if you've got the demand. And then over a couple of years, I then left my cozy little corporate job for the free fall of enterprise, really.
It does feel a bit like that sometimes, doesn't it? Well, I mean, it is a really brave thing to go out and start your own business. I mean, your background is as a financial controller, wasn't it?
Yes.
Well, but that's a really good skill to have when you're starting a business, because obviously it means that you're sort of very aware of the profit and loss and making sure that there's enough money in the business to keep you going. Do you think that's kind of helped you a lot?
It has, and actually sometimes I think, in a way, I need to go back to that more and more all the time.
Yeah.
But just give you that sensibility, I think, and that kind of knowledge about not overstretching, trying to decide whether, because it's quite easy to get quite heady when you start a business, to start spending quite a lot of money on things and not trying things and just to manage it. But I'm also learning as I go along. We've learned with credit control, even though you get purchase orders, even though you get these guarantees, sometimes clients default, and you've got to be on top of every aspect, not just your investments, but also like how you spend your money. It's how you collect your money, and everything around it, how your marketing plan and your business model, that and your target customer that you're going for. So where you're going to get the most in what period, because you can go for large clients, but they might take longer. You can go for smaller clients, get lots of them, but then there's less margin. So it's all about thinking about all those little aspects of it, really, which I think is what I've got out of it, thinking about how to maximize what resources I've got, being me and my time and my partner and the stuff you have around yourself.
Well, you do have a small team that you work with, don't you?
Yeah.
You've got your husband works in the business as well?
That's right, and we've got an admin assistant, and I tend to outsource. I really like using people that have got their own business contracting. So I pull in, and I've worked with them for lots of years, actually, pretty much since we started, and they're like employees. But I think the benefit of that is, and as any small business owner knows, hiring staff is such an area that can be so consuming, that can actually take away from just your functioning of your business, because you spend so much time investment in the employment side, hiring people, maintaining them, making sure they're fully occupied and producing, and everyone's teed up and focused on the objectives of what you're trying to do, and performing, and holidays and balancing it. Whereas when you use contractors or outsource things, you can specify projects, what you want, get the best people for that particular thing. Because if you have a marketing person that you hire, they might not be specialists in all the areas you need. You might just need to dip in and dip out of copyright or social media, or even when it comes to other areas like admin and web design and systems. Some people, you might just need some help along the way, but not full time. So it's always good just to dip in and choose. And I use people per hour. And
I love people per hour.
I also use people that have got their own businesses, whether it's bookkeepers, web designers, graphic designers, all sorts.
Well, I think that's right, because I think one of the risks that we fall into, particularly as micro businesses, is that we try and do everything ourselves. And my experience has been, if you can bring in a professional who is an expert in their field, even though initially it may seem like their cost is higher, the reality is because they know what they're doing, you get a much more solid product out of that, and generally it will take them less time to deliver it than bringing in somebody that you have to train up or working with interns.
Absolutely. And the thing is, then you're actually got the power of a medium-sized company, because you aren't really a micro business. You're actually like joining up all the individuals to form something. And the way I see it is, they're part of my team. I don't feel like we're disconnected. Even our suppliers of the bags and the logistic companies, they're part of the team to deliver the product. And I think that goes right through to the back room, so to speak, the back end of the business, whether it's admin, finance, all of that. It's all part of the team, even if they're not on your payroll. They're paid one way.
Yeah, totally. But actually that kind of brings me quite nicely into the next question, because you don't get your bags made here in the UK, do you? You get them made in China.
China or India, actually.
Oh, and both. Right. So you've got two suppliers now.
Yeah. Natural fiber bags come from India mainly, and all the others come from China.
Well, tell me a little bit about that process. I mean, how did you find your supplier? Because I think it's one of the big challenges that people have when they are looking to start a business like yours, because you're getting manufactured products, aren't you?
Absolutely. My story is quite random, but we've stuck with them from the beginning. So basically, when I started Smart Bags, I went through another company that were using their supply chain, and then after a while we went directly using the actual manufacturer through them, and then from there we've been using them from the beginning, and that has been the key to the success. Really, is forming that relationship. I think we all think it's easier to source product direct, knowing that it can be cheaper to cut out middle people, especially in the UK, and not as much is manufactured here as we'd like to, especially things that are heavily labor orientated,
Yeah.
whether it's sourced from Turkey or like places like that, and even Eastern Europe. A lot of goods are coming from there now, and China and India. The thing is, we can all log onto websites and directories that will give you those, but you do need to meet the people, you do need to know, and I think forming the relationship is the key, and once you get that, that's gold, really.
So did you actually go out to China and India to meet the factories where you're getting the bags made?
Absolutely. Not me personally, I'd like to. I ended up staying looking after the children.
Yeah.
But Matt has, and I think that's really a key important thing, especially when you've got very different cultural backgrounds as
Mm.
well. It's really important to understand the person. It's like when you work with someone, a contractor, even here, you want to meet that person, whether you use Skype or in person, but to get to know them is good. And to meet them, I think some cultures and some places, it's it just cements a relationship, really,
Yeah,
and
good.
shows respect. It shows respect. It shows you respect the service that they give you.
And have you had any major challenges with dealing with them, given that, they're so far away?
Yeah, like I think with anything that's mass produced and product based, there's always um, issues that can arise on quality and communication because you're specifying bespoke products. So it's a matter of trial and error. But I think everything is just worked through. And I think if you work as a team, then everything's overcome. So yeah, I think we're being touch wood pretty lucky so far.
And
Yeah.
what would you suggest to somebody that wants to actually get a product made out in China? What would your recommendation be for them?
I would say with anyone starting any product business, whether it's China or anywhere else, it's really just to look around and ask people. And also, there's so much resources here to start off the process. Like, I am the hugest ambassador for the British Library, for
Oh,
example,
yeah, totally.
and there's so much resource there just for a start, to try and find out how you can do things. There's trade organisations here. There's import. There's so much support here to start off with. In that way, to start speaking to getting the right connections, um, as a starting point, I would say, really.
Yeah. And the Women Unlimited Business Clubs.
And the Women Unlimited Business Club, definitely,
Got to squeeze that in there.
absolutely.
And what would you say, for you, making that transition from a corporate environment to a entrepreneur, what's been the biggest thing for you? Because it's a big step, isn't it?
Not having anyone to fix my PC or
Ah!
change the cartridge.
No doubt you'll get inundated with lots of people telling you how to and trying to sell you their PC repair service.
Wi-Fi connection between the printer and the laptop work, or how come my Skype, those things. No, jokes aside, transitions. Yeah, besides having a help desk somewhere that you can just phone someone and then they come and fix things. I guess it's also having that. When you work in corporate, you always slag off how many meetings you have and how much talking you do before anything actually gets done. But when you work in a small group or for yourself, you don't have that many opportunities to actually do lots of talking, to discuss things. But when you do, that is amazing because you come up with such clarity and such focus, and it helps you. So I think that's why so many people tend to use mentors. But whether you use a mentor or you just have someone that, like the Unlimited Women's Business Club, where you can go and talk to other people, share their problems and share their journey and share their experience, so that you can learn from them and really come away thinking about your business, how you approach it, how you price things, how you package things, what marketing works, even like what email marketing software product to
Yeah.
use. Yeah, it's like it's a minefield. Yes, you can Google and you can do your own research, but I think when you can actually speak to other people, and that's why I think from a corporate point of view, you do have those kind, when you're in a corporate, there's a lot of meetings to progress things and also just the resources really in that aspect. You've got a budget to see a project through.
Yes, which quite often can be difficult to find when you're talking about your own business, can't it?
Yeah, like every websites, creating a website and knowing where to start, everything. There's so many aspects because in a corporate, there's people that are specialists in all those
Yeah.
areas, and that comes back to what I said about outsourcing things that you don't have, so you can create your own firm within your micro business. So you are a micro business. You're actually a combination of businesses to form something that's really quite strong
Well,
and
yeah, that's really powerful, and I totally agree with you because it makes one, it makes your business so much more nimble. You're able to be more flexible. If you need to cut costs, you can do that very easily without stress. But also, it means you can bring in those specialist skills as you need it. I mean, I think tell
and
us
you
about
can
the
grow.
little. What's that?
You can grow really. You can
Yeah,
grow and get good clients, and then feel really loved and serviced, and getting the level of service that they deserve and they're prepared to pay for.
yeah,
That they're probably not going to get in a large corporate because even though corporates are great, they've got inefficiencies, and that's what you probably don't get in a smaller business where
yeah,
you really join up the bits you need and then dismantle it and add it together as
yeah,
you need,
yeah,
or make it just constantly change it.
yeah. Totally agree. So I'm just going to ask you one last question, which is particularly around sales, because sales marketing is one of the big challenges that I think we all have, as a small business. And it's if you're not typically from that environment, it can be quite intimidating and a little bit tough. You have got some big brands that have bought
Mm-hmm.
from you. What advice would you give for somebody that wants to get big brands on their books as a client? Can you think of maybe 3 things that they could do?
I think nothing happens overnight. I think that you've always got to start with your vision and start with where you want to take it and do the little steps for it. So it's all cumulative, whether it's doing your social media, doing your direct marketing, doing your branding, your websites, your products, even your cold calling or warm calling, whatever you want to call it. Everything adds up to get you where you want to. And actually, it's all about people and relationships at the end of the day. So it's about just presenting yourself and your offering and your service. And as long as you've got a issue that you're solving or a problem, or you're providing a product that someone wants, it's finding that person and communicating to it. That's the way I see sales. But I constantly am learning. So I have, ever since I left, because my background is completely not sales, I've probably tried to read and every book that I can, speak to, observe, listen, watch, just try. And I think you can try different things and see what works
Yeah.
and then stop doing it.
What's a really successful technique that you have done, that you've used?
um, I think direct marketing works.
So
It,
sending them a product, or would you send them an email or a product?
both. I think the kind of, it's cumulative. So it might be you phone someone, you introduce yourself, you send a product, you send a sample, you send some information, and then 3 months later you might follow up. It's about forming that relationship and understanding it. I guess even if it was a large a product sale or a service sale, is about getting to know someone before they're prepared to purchase. Obviously, when it's something someone wants immediately, they might just jump on your website and buy it, which is fabulous. But it's still about the relationship, and whether you do just have a website that sells products like an e-commerce site, which we don't have, but obviously many people do. How do you form that relationship? Well, that's what social media, I guess, helps with your blogging and with your Twitter and with your Facebook, so people can get to know you before, or when they're about to make the purchase, they try and work out a bit more about you before they decide. So I think it is about the content.
Good. Well, brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Leanne. That was absolutely, truly fascinating. And I really appreciate you being our guinea pig today. And I hope to see you next month, maybe at the business clubs.
Definitely.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.